Hey, everybody, and welcome to Boss Talks episode 101. We have a special guest today, Toni Blake. She is joining me today. She just informed me she is going into her fifth decade in the industry of multifamily. Super excited to dive into things with her, learn more about her history in the industry, her business, how she got started in multifamily, and special thing that she launched today, some resources that she put on her website, linked in the comments. You can go to her website and she has some great free resources for you. She's also today bringing out some things from the vault of Totally Toni, where you can learn about all the things that she's done over the years. So super excited to have Toni today. But before we get there, I'm your host, Evan Happel. I'm with Community Boss, and we have some great solutions for you when it comes to managing your physical spaces. So if you have a need to manage the parking spaces or are just needing to maybe manage those, I don't know, amenities or generate some revenue, we got some great solutions for you. So make sure you connect with me and learn more about it. But today it's about Toni, so let's bring her to the show. Toni, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Evan.
Absolutely. And let's just point it out at the very beginning. She's rocking her boss chain, which I love. She even went out of her way to go get one. I'm actually sending her one, but she got one because she wanted to make sure she had it for the show, which I appreciate. And so glad to have you rocking the boss, bringing your bossness to the platform.
That's right, baby. Rocking the boss today.
Yeah.
Super excited. I know Evan already told you guys, hey, everybody. I am so excited to tell you that Doug and I have been working really hard on a whole new download at Totally Toni that says free resources. And when you scroll down, you get positive changes and you get the kindness challenge, which is ready to launch for Q4. So I want to make sure everybody knows we are going to have an extraordinary plan for Q4 that we're going to talk about today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing that. Thanks for bringing some free resources to our friends in multifamily, and super excited to have you and discuss some things today. So before we get into the meat of things, I'd love to just talk about some of the questions at hand of how we approach certain things, the questions I like to ask. I have a few new ones today, though. Yes. To kick it off with episode 101, one of the questions that some of my friends that I polled wanted to know was, when it comes to getting hyped for things, is there certain kind of music or a song that you like to listen to get you all hyped up and ready to go?
Oh my God, that's such a great question. Thank you to your friends. So yeah, baby. I love Justin Timberlake, Walking on Sun, like, I love that. I love Pharrell's Happy. I love Jason Mraz has a song, Look for the Good. Oh my God, Evan. Every single word of this song, I so believe. Look for the good in everyone. Look for the good in everything. It just lines up with my purpose. And one of the things I do in every session, and the audience might think it's for them, but it's for me. And that is, I play a series of really fun songs, and then I will often dance on the stage or dance around the room. And it's my way of kind of taking up that whole room with my mojo. I want them to feel me and my energy before I get up there, so they're ready.
Nice.
I'm hoping that you had your coffee, and because I'm about to release the beast. And so I feel like the music gets me going. It triggers my adrenals and says, all right, baby, it's showtime, and gets me excited. So I have a whole list. I'll share my playlist too, if you want.
No, that'd be awesome. Always good to have some music to get things going. So that's awesome. All right. And then next question. Way back when you were a leasing agent, even through today, and it doesn't have to be related necessarily completely to multifamily, but do you have any, especially with the tours you go on with the bus, any funny or memorable stories regarding parking that you've been faced with through the years?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, um, the scenic route.
Yeah.
Also crossed paths in the parking lot with the laundry room.
Okay.
And I'm walking through the parking lot, and there is a thong, and then a
Oh.
sock, and then like this girl or guy, whoever, I'm sure it was a male sock and a female thong. And I just casually pointed over to something else and picked him up and put him in my pocket. But it's like, you just never know what you're gonna get. Leasing is like a box of chocolates, isn't it?
So that was in the parking lot of
In the
a
parking lot, like,
community.
and they must have crossed. They just crossed through there. And oh, here's a fun parking story. So one of the things that we did, we had this porter, and he was amazing, and he drove this little truck, and the truck was kind of a mess. And we wanted the truck to be parked in the back. And so what we did is we went and we did VIP parking, and we painted the cement thing, very important porter. And we gave him this exclusive parking spot, which actually directed him to the back of the property. But he was so proud of having his own designated spot that he didn't realize we were actually tricking him into not parking where everybody could see the truck. So, I mean, parking can be a marketing tool, right?
There you go. Yeah, that's funny. Oh gosh. And then final question, when it comes to, and I'm going to roll with this one today still, your caffeinated beverage of choice, i.e. coffee, if you roll that way, what is your go-to?
So I do 1 cup of coffee in the morning,
Okay.
and I do like a dark roast. I use an English toffee stevia, which I really, really
Okay.
love, and half and half. And
Nice.
I'll have 1 cup and then no more. I do not do Starbucks. It does not do well with me.
Huh.
I don't even like the taste of it. It tastes
Oh,
burned. Um,
yeah.
I do like a nice French roast or a dark roast, but I don't. I really actually prefer. My daughter worked for Starbucks, and she said that the espresso actually has less caffeine than the coffee. And
Hmm.
so I would get an espresso long pour, with
Hmm.
water, and then put my stuff in it.
Okay. Yeah. When I get Starbucks, I typically get like cold brew or something.
Okay.
I'm not a big sweet drink fan, but yeah, I don't, there's a lot of different places around here. Obviously, Starbucks being originally from Seattle and is still
Right.
Seattle. We have a lot of them here, but there's a lot of other options as well. But I always like a good, roast from somewhere else that's a little, either a small chain craft coffee, just for my drip here in the morning. So I figure spend a little more on your beans, and you're
Oh,
still
yeah.
saving compared to going out and getting a cup.
Oh,
1 cup
absolutely.
of coffee, $7, or pay 14 for some beans. I don't know. Seems like a
Crazy.
better deal.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy. Ain't nobody got money for that.
That's right. And speaking of your daughter,
Yeah.
she is currently, we're in the midst of the Olympics. I know that you've posted proudly about your daughter being over in Paris with Team USA. What is
Yeah.
she doing over there?
Okay, so she was my executive admin, and I lost her to the Olympics. So
Oh wow.
she is the executive admin for Rocky, who is the chief of sports and athletes.
Wow.
And then under him is 7 more chiefs, including the operations chief of the Olympics, the housing chief of the Olympics, all the different chiefs. They all report to him. She sent me a picture of her boss with the flag bearers. And she has had an all access pass. So
That's
yesterday
crazy.
she was at a gate or a entrance to a place, and Tom Brady left and said goodbye to her. And she was like, he is so gorgeous in person. But she keeps sending us, she couldn't take his picture. She's not allowed to take anybody's photo. But she's ran into Hoda. A bunch of people have passed by her, and it's been really fantastic. She's had really long conversations with people. She's been in the Team USA house when the ladies in the gymnastics won the gold, and has talked to a lot of the different athletes. And it's been an extraordinary experience for her. And she's going back to work the Paralympics next month.
Oh, okay.
So that's
wow.
really
That is, I mean, that's a cool experience. Like
yes.
I've never been to the Olympics ever. So,
me either.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's super fun. Did she get that? I mean, has she always lived in Colorado
She
Springs
lives in Colorado
area?
Springs. When she graduated from high school, she went to Colorado Springs to a big church up there that does a school of worship. And she learned how to be a worship leader up there. She sings and plays and is amazing. And of course, I can brag. And she, once she got settled in the spring, she stayed up there. So she's been up there for years. But she really, really loves the new job. And it's been fantastic to have like all these inside backstage pictures from, she can't take a picture with an athlete in it, but she's shown me all the dressing rooms and all the clothes and all the swag and all that stuff.
Yeah. Does she get all the swag?
Oh, yeah. She brought an extra suitcase.
Oh my gosh. Because there's, what is there? There's Nike, Ralph Lauren,
Polo,
and Skims or something.
TVR, or there's a bunch of them. Yeah.
I've been watching all this little clips on Instagram and stuff from all the athletes and seeing all the things they get. So
yeah, me too.
But all right. Well, that's fun. That's super cool. Well, to get it back to you though, almost 5 decades in the industry, which is, I mean, that is, you were saying that you started as a leasing agent and then moved right into your own business. And that all got launched in 1980, what?
4.
Okay. When I was born.
Okay. Yeah. So you're getting the big 4-0 this year then, or you already got
it? Already got it. Yep. Okay. Yep. That happened
so
in
40
March.
years in business and 5.5 years on site before that. So long time. But the market was exploding a lot like we're in right now. We were in expansion, but it was a bigger expansion back in the 80s. And think about how many apartments were built in the 80s. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There were 500,000 new units built in Texas alone in the 80s. And what they'd done is they had bulleted, like put a bullseye on multifamily because we were a tax shelter. And we had passive losses and all these things that allow people to put money in apartments and then not pay taxes on it. And so they went after us. So they redid everything. So all these developers were trying to get grandfathered under the old tax laws for their building. And there was a massive boom. And that's when I started my business.
Oh, wow. So only a few years in the industry, how did you, at such a, I guess, early stage in your career, see, oh, there's an opportunity here?
Well, I went out interviewing for jobs as a train director. I wanted to do training. Basically, the 2 companies I worked for, they posted me on the property that needed the most leases, and I was a leasing demon. I mean, I just, I leased everything. And so they were just using me, but I wanted to train. And so they wouldn't let me leave a property to go train because they're afraid I'm going to miss traffic. So they had this other girl they hired to do training. And I'm like, why is she training people? Like, I am the one who does it the best. And so I got frustrated. So I went out looking on the job market and everybody was building. And this one small developer said to me, he was like, I'm never going to get you. I don't have enough properties and I can't really afford you. He said, however, I have this lease up. And if you will contract for this lease up, I'll pay you and I'll have my attorneys drop the contract. And then you can use that same contract to go get other contracts to do contract leasing with other people. And that will put you out on your own. And then you can build the training up. And so that's what I did. I worked for him, filled his properties, worked for some other owners, filled their properties. If there's anybody on this that has like a lot of history in the industry, does anybody remember Phil Carlock, Concept 21 in Atlanta, Georgia? Give me a booyah in the chat. So Phil Carlock was president of NAA. He was president of the Atlanta Association, very, very involved. Big guy, like just took up a lot of space, smoked a cigar. And I remember I went in, I had moved to Atlanta to start my lease up company there. And he looks over at me and he says, "Why should I pay you?" And at the time it was only $500 to do what I've got people in my company are begging me to let them do. And I leaned back and I said, "Phil, because they're not me and you need me." And he goes, "Well, hell, darling, you got it." And so I got my first gig with him, and then got paid to talk. I was so excited. And for years, Phil would call me and he would say, "This is your poor cousin in Atlanta. Can you give me a good deal?" Because once somebody comes in at a low rent, they don't like it when you raise their rent. And my rent went a lot higher than $500 a day. But he was the first one to give me a check from a management company for talking.
Okay. That's interesting. So what was the main things you focused on early on in your business?
Well, when I started leasing, there was a lot of scripts going around. A speaker named Gene Chamberlain had come along and put together a lot of scripts, and it was very scripted, and it was say this, say that, and it was this is what you said. And I really didn't like that. And one of the things I did in the first training that I was allowed to do, a couple of trainings, is they had big ashtrays back then. And I had everybody bring their script, and I think they thought I was going to have them practice it. I had them put it in the ashtray, tore it into paper, and we burned it, and then we danced around it. And my first seminar was called Freestyle Leasing. And this is my first product. This is an audio cassette album. Only one is missing. And this was Grubb and Ellis donated this to the Colorado Springs Apartment Association, January 20th, 1992. But freestyle leasing. So my goal was, you need to be yourself. You need to say language that matters to you. You need to learn how to use your own voice. And that really resonated with people. And I was allowed to begin to teach what had made me successful in leasing, and the fact that I love people and I really wanted to know their story. And so I was very good at getting them to open up and talk to me and tell me. And I used to get out of the office and go to the pool. And then I would sit at the pool. Now, we didn't have cell phones back then or pagers or anything. I would be gone for like 90 minutes and the manager would be looking for me. And out of the pool, just talking to people before I showed them an apartment. By the time I was showing them an apartment, I knew them, what they were looking for. I was able to show them their apartment rather than my apartment. And that instinct has helped me to develop a lot of changes in the way basic sales tactics. There's so much that was written as basic sales tactics that they call leasing, but it's just sales, basic sales. They just erase the word sales and put the word leasing in it. But one of the things I teach is that when you get to the door, right before you get there, you stop and you give them the key and you say, "You are about to go into your home for the very first time. Why don't you do the honors?" And you let them open the door. It feels like their apartment. You don't have yours. You're not standing in front of them. You're not in their space. And I have them open the door. And as they do, from behind them, I do this very ceremonial crossing the threshold where I tell them their new address. And I say, "Welcome home to 4945 West 8th Street, Suite 104, Greeley, Colorado." And there's this feeling about it. And then I like for people to go all the way to the balcony. I say, "Go all the way to the balcony. Just keep walking and open the balcony." And I meet them on the balcony. And then I anchor the GPS of where we are. Then when I turn to go back into the apartment with them, we are walking into the largest space in there. And that whole body language being too close, it doesn't feel cumbersome. And so I rewrote leasing. I rewrote how you do it. Freestyle. What does it look like if we erase all these basic sales tactics and we come up with a process that truly is helping somebody find a new home?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I never like when I'm just going somewhere and somebody starts selling me, right? Um, it's always best to ask the person coming to you. They had a reason as to why they came there to get a house or buy something.
And they
So let
have a
them tell
story.
you. Yeah. So let them
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something too, Evan, there's great data that supports this, but moving is extraordinarily stressful.
Right.
And the people who are going through this process are stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing they need is sales tactics. In fact, I'm very, very proud to say that the Houston Apartment Association just published my article, and you can find this. Well, maybe we'll put the link in the chat. It's HAA Abode Magazine May issue. I'm on page 43 if I can get to it. And I redesigned. Can you see this, or is it backwards?
No, we're good.
It's the personal H2H multifamily CX. So I'm teaching the power of AL. So what is AL? Well, it's the suffix that you put on the word person to make it personal. And I believe making it personal is powerful. It's our secret sauce. And so I've rewritten, like if you look at this, you've got 1920, which is when the original sales language was born, meaning, greeting, qualifying, all that. And now in 2024, I've designed it into 5 human roles that we play with our customer. And the first one is the investigator, and that we get their story so we don't tell them ours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've always thought it's so annoying when somebody like just goes right into selling. They just show me all their product, and I'm like, in my head, I'm always like, that's not what I'm interested in.
Yeah, in my seminars, I have this little thing I'll do. I go, I'm sorry, I'm so bored. I just took a nap. I mean, you think about it. Hulu. Why do we watch Hulu? Because there's no commercials. Did you not just die with all the commercials during the Olympics? I've watched more commercials in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 10 years. And
well, we're used to streaming now, so it's like,
yeah, but it's like commercials are a turnoff.
Yeah.
So why would you teach your people to sound like a commercial? And there are training directors out there, Evan, that teach them to memorize the brochure copy. And then so what they're doing is they're saying brochure copy back at people. It's not your words, it's somebody else's words.
Right.
If it's not something you believe in, it doesn't carry a human resonant with it. It doesn't carry passion. It doesn't carry the right energy. It's dead, and it's sales, and it's not what people want.
No, I agree with that. So this is how you started. At some point, and maybe it was always a piece of the pie, you incorporated the fun and the comedic aspect of who you are. How did that get put into the mix when it comes to what you do?
I'm going to go a little bit into the past right now, and then I'll go farther back.
Okay, all right.
So I'm just funny. Like I just see funny, and like I don't show my unit. And especially maintenance shouldn't show their unit. I just see funny in the industry, and so funny just came out. I mean, I had no choice but to be funny because it's who I am. Anyway, I did tour for 7 years in the comedy clubs. I did Catch a Rising Star and Evening at the Improv, Comic Relief. I got to open for Jeff Foxworthy at NAA. I have a great comedy bio, and I really invested. I had a comedy coach who was a writer for NBC, paid him a lot of money to look at my shows, and I worked really hard on my comedy. But the instinct of it, just the nature of it, is just a part of me. I just wanted to work those comedy muscles and know how to use them. So I'd gotten into this rut where I like to open with comedy, and then I'd come back to a break with comedy, and I would try and be funny. So when COVID hit and we got the amazing tour bus, And my husband, Doug, and I went out on the road in our amazing tour bus. He is now in every one of my sessions, working the tech for Zoom, watching every seminar, the whole thing. So one night we're on the bus, it's happy hour, and I'm winding down. And he says to me, "Do you try and be funny?" And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "It just feels like you're trying to be funny." I said, "I mean, like when I start or when I come from back for break," and I go, "Yeah, I always try and do a little comedy there." He goes, "Stop it." He was like, "Just stop it." He said, "Toni, you're funny. And it's funnier when it surprises you too. Like it's funnier when the funny hits me and I just let it fly." And he's like, "You need to stop trying to group the comedy. And you need to just let your funny flag fly." And he's like, "Stop trying to be funny and just be yourself." And that was such a freeing experience because I almost felt like this obligation. People would come in, they know I'm funny, and they'd sit and look at me like, come on, make me laugh. And especially when you get an audience laughing, it's hard then to get them back into the training sometimes because they love the laughter. It's been a really powerful life lesson in understanding it's who I am. I believe that I am filled with joy. I see things from a very joyful perspective, and opening up that channel and letting that flow freely has been an amazing part of my own personal fulfillment in understanding myself. And it's something that I truly enjoy, making a room full of people laugh. It's magic.
Yeah. No, it is fun to laughter in general is just fun to experience. Whenever I watch a movie and it's like a comedy, part of my experience is watching other people. Like I like to see them enjoying it, and it makes me enjoy it even more. Like I'm already laughing, but it's like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you the toughest nuts to crack are maintenance. Like I really had to work on getting maintenance comedy together. But I got you, maintenance. I got you. If maintenance comes to my program and I see a bunch of maintenance guys, I got maintenance. I can get maintenance. My favorite line with maintenance is to say, "Listen, if you have a laugh and you hold it in, it will give you gas." That just like if they've been holding it and they haven't like let it go and made noise, I said, "Don't blame me later on. If you're not feeling well, it's not my fault." And so that'll get them, and then later on I'll say, "Come on, let it go. I know you're feeling it. Let it go." It's better when it's a conversation and not a presentation. And that's what Doug helped me to see. I had gotten into kind of a rut. I think leasing agents get in that rut. They'll memorize what they say. They'll say it in the same sequence. And sometimes they'll say something that they don't normally say. And they're like, "Ooh, that's good. I'm going to keep that." And if you do that, it just tells you that you're not really connecting and having a conversation with people. And that's what they really want.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally, Toni.
Yeah, that's right. So you were just bringing up maintenance. So what aspects of maintenance do you hit on when it comes to leasing and or not leasing, but training?
Oh my gosh. So maintenance are the hands and the heart of our property.
For sure.
Drop the mic. I mean, like the best ideas ever in collaborating come from maintenance. So I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, every January, I call key people in the industry that I think are very innovative. And I ask them, "What are you looking at this year? Like where are you trying to figure out where you're going? Do you hanging your hat on something? What's going on?" So I have this conversation with Bizzuto, and she tells me day one, like we're hanging our hat on day one. We're going to so I put together my ideas for day one, and then I love to present information and then let the teams collaborate on it. So I'm just going to give total kudos. Arbor Properties, hey! This is one of my favorite clients. They're down in the South. They know every one of my tricks. That's why I have to keep coming up with stuff so I can keep speaking to the Arbor teams. And I had an idea that I actually got from Tammy Sirik, and that was putting something in the parking space, thinking garden style, that would reserve the closest parking spot for the van, for the moving van. Because if you think about it, all the other residents, the only thing they need to take in that apartment is their Botox. You know, they got to take their body in, but this family has to carry everything they own into that apartment building. So we give them that reserve. So I had found this little sign from Lowe's that was a nice frame metal, had a little place where you could hang a plant, and said, welcome. And it had an arch on it. And maintenance takes one look at it and he goes, how come it's not a dolly? Like, what's the use in putting this frame out there? Nobody can even use it. He said, what if we put a dolly there? And then they start laughing. And I'm like, what? He goes, we could make a sign that says, hello, my name is Dolly. Pardon me for reserving this parking space. And then we could attach a couple of great big pink balloons to it. And they cried and they laughed and they laughed and they laughed. And we've done that. We've put these Dolly Parton things out. Maintenance also came up with the idea of, you know, those storage units that clip on the side. They came up with a moving day kit that they can check out. And inside it, it has small tools to disassemble things. It's got all these other colored tapes where they can put wires together with a colored tape and then write what those wires go to. It had sliders so they could move furniture around. It was incredible. Like, if you are not bringing maintenance into the creative aspect of things, then you are missing one of your best, most talented resources. And so with maintenance, like 9 years ago, Eunice Magazine printed an article on a client of mine, and they interviewed the client and forgot to mention it was my plan. But we did QRs inside the vacants that went to how-to videos done by maintenance. And now a lot of people are doing that. QRs have become, but I was doing that 9 years ago. I mean, like way before COVID. And so I'm always coming up with, we have a new tool that's called the service recognition instead of a service request. And I give it to the managers and it's paper because I want maintenance to get something that they can hold in their hand. And instead of a work order or a work service request, they thank them for things they've done. And they tell them how much they appreciate what they do. It's like every time maintenance gets something, it's something wrong. Well, why aren't we telling him when something's right? So, don't even get me started about maintenance. Okay, one more. I'm big into stickers, and this is one of my favorite products. It's called My Sticker Face. I got my fingers on my sticker face. And you can have a sticker made of your face. And so we had Hello Ovation Properties. Hi, Erica. We did sticker faces for maintenance. And then on the leave behind in the unit, in the apartment home, they put their face with their name on it. Thank you for serving you, and their name. And they already had photo ID badges. They put their sticker face on their photo ID badge. And in 1 week, we had 5 new Google reviews because that sticker face personalized that leave behind and caught the resident's eye. And we've been super, super successful. So I have tons of programs with maintenance, you know, ways to use that connection with the resident maintenance. And one of my favorite things too is in the closet in the tour apartment. It goes in every apartment, but you know where R2D2's cousin is, like the maintenance closet that has the hot water heater and stuff in it. We have a QR that says meet maintenance. And when they scan it, it takes them to a YouTube channel where all the maintenance guys are there. They talk about their CAMT, their certifications. They thank them for looking at the apartment and becoming a resident, and let them know they're very excited to serve them. And they get to meet maintenance in the tour. And so we don't just use the QRs for teaching the resident, like, where the shutoff valve is for the toilet, but we also introduce them and have some marketing moments. Oh, I love maintenance.
No, that's cool.
Don't get me started on maintenance.
No, that's cool. That idea of giving them tools and things when they're moving in, I mean, that makes a lot of sense because it's handy for the resident, but it also prevents potential damage by giving them things that are helpful.
Right. And we give them the things that hang pictures the proper way. You just give them all, and then you just replenish them. And I think at Arbors we did 3 boxes per property.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. There's so many, moving is also destructive.
It is. Moving is one of my ideas was, after people move, like, let them suffer a couple of days, go over and use voice memo on your phone and say, do me a favor and record a message to yourself, telling yourself not to move. So when you come in and give me notice, I'm going to play this back to you. Hello, Toni. Do not give you notice. Moving sucks. I hated it. Like, I think that I've never done it, but it makes me laugh to think about doing it. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, moving. So often it's out of your hands to move, but some people, they're chronic movers, and I've never understood that. Like, why do you want to move every 2 years or less? I don't understand. Even if it saved you $50, like, I don't think it's worth it.
Definitely not.
Because, I mean, moving costs money too. So at the end, do you actually save money? I mean,
yeah, I have a series of negotiation cards. There's 28 of them for things to say to somebody when they come in and they're arguing about a rent increase. And one of the cards says the average minimal cost of moving is $1,500. Like, that's the least it'll cost you. That's $125 a month. So if you're leaving thinking you're not going to have an increase in the cost of living, you need to put that into the pot, because you're going to need to find a place that's $125 cheaper.
Yeah.
Than where you're living right now. Now try that one out.
You got to come up with a deposit. You got to move.
There's so much.
You could break your furniture. Yeah. Well, and then you break something, and now you got to replace it. Like, all the things that could go wrong. And just stay. Yeah. Just stay where you are. Exactly. Yeah. All right. You hit on it a little bit, but at some point during COVID, and you didn't do this before that, I'm guessing, but is the bus tour. Right. Now, when did you jump in with that? Why? And how did it go? And do you continue doing it?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the untold story. COVID was hard on everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It was very hard on us as well. In February of 2020, my father's cancer metastasized, and it had spread to the pancreas and the liver, and he was on a short clock. And my biggest tour season, and I've been doing this for a long time, is the spring. And I would have been gone every single day, but instead the world shut down in March. And I put a studio in my basement, and I got to spend every single day with my dad until he transitioned to heaven. So that was really, really brilliant. My daughter at the time, that is now in Paris with the Olympics, she worked for me. And my husband is amazing. He made payroll every single week. I don't even know how we did it. Clients, when they postponed ahead, we asked him to pay a good faith of another half of that, and they did. And we worked it out. He got the PPP. We got a business loan because it's a female-owned business. We took care of it. In October of that year, Doug and I were in a terrible car accident. And all 3 of the tendons on the passenger side where the seatbelt were torn from the bone. I had internal bruising. It was bad. Our car was totaled. We could heal from it. And I don't post, you won't see pictures of me in the hospital. Like, I don't post my scar and hospital pictures. So a lot of people don't even know that happened to us. But here I'm going to get to the good part. And I am definitely a woman of faith. And when things started to turn around in the beginning of the next year. We had this money sitting there from our car. And Mississippi's the first one who said, would you come to Mississippi live? And I said, if I got to get in one of those plastic balls and roll myself to Mississippi, I will come live. And this business is small. Within 30 minutes, I get a call from my friend Kristen Burr. Hey, girl, you know, you called me an hour later from Gulfport. And she says to me, are you going to Jackson, Mississippi in March live? I said, yes. She said, well, then you're coming to Gulfport. Well, then Tammy Esponji and New Orleans called. And before I knew it, I had like 4 or 5 cities that wanted me in the South. And we had the plan to do the KN95s up to 50 people and Zoom out. So I said to Doug, we need an RV. And the money that was sitting there was only $18,000. And my amazing husband, who shopped and found me online, he found a 1995 Holiday Rambler Expedition. It's like the top of the line one. It was in a pole barn in Wyoming. And in this pole barn was an old Jag, this RV, the biggest snowmobile Doug had ever seen with 3 rows of seats. I mean, like it was this monstrosity snowmobile, and it was his toys. It had 60,000 miles on it. It was in pristine condition, and it was $18,000. And what was really, really just meaningful to us is that we love that Pathfinder, and the license plate from the Pathfinder went on the bus. And then I make calls, and I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to try not to cry on this one. Chadwell Supply, love you, man. They were the first ones to say yes to the bus. I said, I'll put your logo on it. You know, I got 43,000 people that follow me. I'll post every time I cross state lines. And they were like, yes, yes, yes. And Jay Turner came on. I forced poor Pete Regulus. I hope his arm is healed from the twisting I did. He gave me money. And because I needed the money for the wrap. And the bus was 18, and that was paid for, but the wrap was 12. And if you've seen the bus, it is absolutely redunculous. It is sky and butterflies and this big yellow band that I call Walking on Sunshine. And it just is the coolest thing ever. And we jumped into that amazing bus, and the Denver Apartment Association did a party to send us off, and we headed out. And it has been just the best for those of you who've been to cities that got the bus. Wow, right? How cool was that for us to drive up to that hotel or that different event facility in that amazing bus? We took pictures outside the bus. I wear my wings. You know, I wear a full-size butterfly wings when I speak. And I wore my wings, and people took pictures with me, and it was amazing. And then the second year we did get sponsors again. Spruce came on, and Beacon came on, and Beacon just reposted on LinkedIn a picture of the bus parked in front of the HAA trade show. And we just happened to have the bus. We were there doing some birding, and Doug went at like 6 a.m. and we went into the Reliant Stadium parking and put that amazing bus right in front of Reliant Stadium on the meeting room side. And everyone who came in got to see the bus. And so occasionally it shows up. I'm going to Texas next year, first 3 or 4 months of the year. So Texas, I will have the bus. So we may have a couple of bus cities next year, but it's been amazing for Doug and I. Like for us as a couple, bus time is just birding and wildlife and lakes and state parks and the countryside, and it's just pure joy.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that story, because it sounds like maybe you haven't really shared the breadth of all the ins and outs of, you know, how that came to be. And yeah, that, I mean, a lot of pieces came together. I've had experiences where seemingly separate things come together for an end goal that you didn't see coming.
No, we did not know what we were doing. We didn't know about RVing. but we knew we wanted to go, and we knew people wanted us to go. And it is the bus to this day. We call it bus time. Like the bus is parked here. Last fall, it stayed at my uncle's pond. He gets a little spot he made for us in Hinesville, Georgia. I've got family there. But we're leaving in February. Hey, Albuquerque. We're coming to see the cranes in Albuquerque in March. Then we're going to head over to High Island to the rookeries there to see the warblers and all the birds there in the coast of Texas. So we'll be coming all the way through Texas. So I'll get the word out.
Nice. That's fun. So how long were you out that first time when it came to your bus tour?
About 6 months.
Wow.
We were out about 6 months. And fall of 2023, we did the upper Michigan Peninsula.
Okay.
That was incredible. And then I just flew out of Detroit and a couple of other cities. But we drove up from Colorado through Nebraska to Duluth. And then we pull a little car. So we would take the car off, and then we took the car up the North Shore. But we did the whole who knew that Michigan was like the greatest place to vacation? It was incredible. We were there at fall, so it was magnificent.
Awesome. And my parents do full-time RVing. They've done it a long time, so I know exactly what goes into that. So there's lots of unexpected things that happen. For you to jump in, not having done it before, I'm sure you have lots of stories of things that also happened along the way. It's really
all been good. I felt like this was, a place to tell the whole story with the car wreck and everything that he and I and my family went through, and how that bus was like the shift. Like when that bus happened, and when we pulled that bus out of the place was called Big Dog Rest. Like when that bus happened, and we pulled that bus out of the place was called Big Dog Rest. What's going on? When that bus happened, and we pulled that bus out of the place was called Big Dog Rest.
I don't know what that was. Maybe YouTube's open. I don't know what that was.
I muted myself.
Maybe YouTube's open.
I don't know. I made the point. I muted myself.
Maybe YouTube's open.
I don't know. It's doing it again. I made the point. I muted myself.
Double check to see if anything like YouTube or anything like that.
It was.
Okay.
It was me. It was me hearing me, recording me, and then presenting me. It was totally Toni. That's hilarious. Funny. Oh my! And I wonder why it all of a sudden started.
That's very funny. Yeah, I mean, I've experienced everything, so it's all good. Well, again, thank you for sharing that story, and it's fun that you still get to do little tours here and there. You definitely got creative during COVID, and you had to make it work just like everybody else. And that's cool that you were able to kind of go on a tour, still work, do your thing, and visit people along the way.
Yeah, it was so great. I did go into my Totally Toni vault and pull out some kind of fun stuff that I don't normally share. I showed you guys already the freestyle leasing. This was my first cassette album, and this was the second one. It was called Service, Service, Service. Real creative title. That was my other one, and this was my very first brochure that I ever did. And one of my seminars was called You Are the Miracle You've Been Waiting For. I may have to just pull that out of the archives and bring it back. Anyway, so fun to see all this again. And so this is a handout that was given to me. Look at this. I make really great handouts. And she gave it to me, and she got this in the 90s. It's Meeting the Management and Marketing Challenges of the 90s. That's the title. And I want to point out that what I've been doing lately is ebooks. So when I have a program, a lot of speakers, the slides come and the slides go and you never see the slide again. And people are taking pictures of them and stuff. Not with me. I let my audience have the slides because I am full of it. And so I'm going to give you that one and then I'm going to go build some more because I'm always making shit up. I love to make shit up. And so I love to give people the slides. So I've been doing ebooks. So what's in my new free resource page, you're welcome, is my top 4 initiative projects are now at Totally Toni. If you go to Totally Toni and you look at the bar at the top for the pull down menus, one of them says free resources. When you open that and pull down, you'll see an ebook for birthdays. Birthdays, Evan, are such a great opportunity for us. I mean, there's so many great opportunities for birthdays. And it's a very sentimental thing. And I had some great data. It's like 67% of people still make a wish when they blow out the candle. And like 89% of people. And one of my ideas is to put together a birthday map of your area. So Sephora does free stuff. All these major chains and things offer free things. So you tell them where they can go get free stuff. There's cupcake places that give you a free cupcake on your birthday. All the restaurants, they give you free food. Give everybody a choice of what they can get and where. And let them spend the whole day out and about with their birthday map. And then what we do, I have a birthday poem I wrote. And also on the first of the month, we put either a great big huge, remember those signs that they came out with COVID? They're still selling them. It's a yard sign that says happy birthday. Yeah. And they have inflatable lit birthday cakes that blow up that say happy birthday with candles. It's all in a big inflatable thing that lights at night, $67. And think about this. Every month at the first of the month, what's really going on? Rent. But what we do is at the first of every month, we put our happy birthday display out to say, happy birthday. Right?
You're happy. Rent. Now pay me rent.
Now pay the rent. But it draws their attention to us in a very, very positive way.
Yeah.
And I've got a whole series of ideas on birthdays. They get the birthday book. I have been really talking to people about making a shift away from social activities towards socially responsible activities. We do socially responsible stuff with our company as like a team building thing. We build bikes and stuff. Excuse me, this chokes me up. But what I want you to do is do it with the resident. I want resident community service. So there's this really great website. It's called volunteermatch.org. You can go on to Volunteer Match, put your zip code in, and it'll give you all these amazing assignments. I had a team in Hampton Roads, Virginia, that made a meal for the parents at the Ronald McDonald House. Like, come on, man. So the residents and the team went to the Ronald McDonald and made that. How cool would that look in social? Another team at Fort Collins made birthday cakes for children at risk. You can play with puppies at Petco as a part of helping them get adopted. There's all these assignments from school to education to arts, whatever you are interested in, all at volunteermatch.org. And so the idea is to have a community service day every month and fill your social message with stories of great socially responsible activities with the residents. Don't you love that?
No, that's cool. I never heard of that website.
Oh, volunteermatch.org. And that's really the whole thing is that, you know, as an educator, my goal is to tell you something that you'd never heard before. And now my 4 initiatives are there at Totally Toni. And one of the things, Evan, is it's in my bio, but it really, really means a lot to me. And that is that I am an agent of positive change. And for years, I have been doing a kindness challenge and making a ripple of kindness in the world. I found my original sticker. This is what the first sticker looked like. We called them kindness hotspots. Free to be kind, like we're sending out a signal of kindness. And now we have the kindness QR. So if you scan that QR, it'll take you to our homepage, which is under free resources. And this says, keep kind in mind. So beginning on my birthday, every year, November 12th, we start 60 days of kindness with the kindness QR. So you can print these stickers and oh my gosh, you can get like 2,000 stickers for like $60. It's ridiculous. And they can be used in so many different ways. And people love stickers. They'll put them on a water bottle, take them to the gym. You can leave them behind work orders, tons of things you can do with stickers. Anyway, so I love the stickers. But we also have this designed as a yard sign. And what I do every day, starting my birthday, is every night at midnight, I go and I move this QR to a different spot. So every day for 60 days, there's a different message of kindness behind the QR. It's a dynamic URL. And the entire plan, the artwork, the graphics, everything is ready to roll at the Kindness Challenge homepage in our free resources. And so, you know, this Q4 with the election and everything going on, our residents and our communities are going to need positive things to focus on. Yeah. And so this year, join me. And everything is there. It's 100% free. The only thing that's going to cost you is the $18 to Canva to print your sign and do whatever to put it around your community. And then just share kindness with coffee, share kindness in a workout, share kindness in outreach marketing. And we've had over 5,000 scans of our QR. And I think we've had the QR like 5 years, and we've got scans in Dubai and in Korea because we had some military bases get active, and the soldiers took the QRs everywhere. So it's been really cool. And I hope you'll join me this year with the Kindness Challenge.
That's cool. Well, I'm glad that it's catching on, and there's nothing like spreading some kindness. So that's really great thing to get behind. So hopefully more and more people jump in with you on that. So one last thing that you had mentioned was, oh, my computer's doing computer things real quick. All right. So the last thing that you had mentioned was that you do art. I don't know if anybody knows this part.
Oh, wow.
That you do art for your friends, industry friends, and
so I paint, and I love to paint. And I'm gonna see if I can find this real quick. I paint for my friends. I've painted Kate Good. Hey, Katie. I painted her daisies with little yellow pears. And I remember when her father passed, I said to her, I'm going to send you daisies because I know they bring you joy. And she says, I have daisies from you every single day. And so I love that. And so I paint flowers. Been doing this for years. Jackie Ramstead, I painted one for Jackie. I just did one for Debbie Androsi. She lost her father, and she loves sunflowers, and he loved, I have to show you this. She says to me, because I let them pick what they want, I want a really pretty Oriental blue vase. And I'm like, oh my God, that doesn't look easy to paint. and I was like, okay. So it's sunflowers for her, blue bonnets for her dad, the Oriental vase, and some bougainvillea. And here's how it came out.
Oh, it looks great.
Didn't that come out pretty? So I painted Patty Woods an iris. She sent me a picture of an iris from her garden. This is the live iris. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
And then this is my painting of it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I do love to express myself in art. It's something that when Doug is doing his camera, I sit on the bus and I paint.
That's good. I think it's fun that you do that for other people, and that, you know, a pretty flower, or Do you do other kinds of art as well, or is it
I don't,
mostly?
I haven't really tried. I have somebody that has challenged me to do a butterfly on a flower, and she hasn't gotten her painting yet because I'm still thinking about it. Butterflies are not, it seems really simple, but I don't paint 100% realistic. I do impressionistic. But I want it to look really good. So I'm doing some practice butterflies, but mostly I do flowers. I really love to paint flowers, and most of my friends, Angel Rogers wanted apples, and I have done some fruit. So she wanted a green velvet curtain, and then she wanted a big bowl of big, gorgeous red apples. And so I did do that, and I think it came out pretty good.
That's cool. And one last thing, what is the story behind the butterfly?
So, oh gosh, we don't have time for that. I had an encounter with the butterfly. I tell it in my programs.
Oh, okay.
And it was a magical moment. I walked into this like 300 butterflies. And I had been asked to climb a hike with my family. And at the time I was around 270 pounds and don't work out. And I was really struggling, and I didn't know that I could do it. And in that moment with those butterflies, this butterfly connected with me. And I literally heard a voice say to me, "Come on, Toni, you've got this." And it flew up that trail. And it's as if inside my soul, wings unfurled, and I got lift. And I feel like in that moment, I got my wings. And I experienced such a euphoria and such a lift. And my goal in life is to create butterfly moments for other people in my sessions, and to have them feel that soulful lift in their heart. And the butterflies are my little, I leave behind. Everybody gets a butterfly when they leave. And they've just become very meaningful to me. They have this amazing example in nature of positive transformation. And I want to be an agent of positive change in the world. So the butterflies are my totem, my spirit animal there.
Okay. Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I never understood. I kept seeing butterflies, everything around you, and so it's fun to hear what's going on with the butterflies. But that is a very inspiring story to hear when you're struggling. Butterflies. That is a good example of taking
Last thing,
something.
we keep saying last thing. August 18th, I'm going to be doing my 4th triathlon. When I encountered that butterfly, it felt impossible to reach the top of that hike, but I did. And I believe the butterfly helped me, the whole idea of that lift. And when I realized I could do that, it was a 1.2 mile climb with 1,000-foot gain of elevation, which is like a 100-story building taking the stairs. After I did that, I knew I could do more. So I did 5Ks, and then I started doing triathlons. And now I do a triathlon team, Totally Toni, because I realized you could do relay. And so I only do the swim leg. But this 18th of August is my 4th triathlon. That moment with that butterfly showed me that I was capable of doing more. And in the last 4 years, I've gone from the 270s to the 220s, moving down into the 210s, and have a very serious goal to get this extra weight off and walk into these final chapters of my life the healthiest I've ever been.
That's really a great story and picture, because I know there's a lot of people that deal with health issues, and there's been things that I've dealt with too. So it's always good to hear positive stories of health transformation as well.
Be the boss of your own body.
That's right. Yeah, your whole life. You gotta take your own life by the horns, and do with it what you want, not let it take over. So that's a good way to end it. So thank you so much, Toni, for being here, for sharing a little bit about yourself, some stories that maybe people haven't heard before. And I hope that they jump in with the positivity challenge, so that people can get more kindness spread across the country and the world, because we need it. And like you said, this year, it's been a thing we've needed more than just this year, but we definitely just need to keep pushing into being kind and positive with one another. So thanks for sharing that.
You bet. Thank you for letting me be the boss today.
You bet. Yes. Thanks for rocking the boss chain. And just like Toni jumped in onto Boss Talks, episode 101. And 101 was perfect because she isn't all about training. And so we got a crash course in all things Toni today. So thank you for that. If you want to jump in, though, and be on Boss Talks, this is an open platform. I'm all about elevating all the bosses in the industry. And so I want you on here to share with others what makes you the boss, whether that's your leadership style, how you do your work, and the passions you have. I want to know more about it and hear your story. So bring it to Boss Talks. Thanks so much for watching today, and make sure you tune in next time on Boss Talks for episode 102. Thanks so much and have a great day.